I don't want to be sour grapes. But the fact is, if there was anything beforehand that I was responsible for, fine, throw the flag. But the flag comes out afterwards. And then this double interference, I have to go back and I'm looking, what are you talking about?
Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show is brought to you by DKI Canada. Across the street, across the country. Today we are joined by one of the greatest receivers in CFL history, Tony Gabriel, and the author of a new book about Gabriel's incredible 1981 Rough Riders team, Howard Mooney. Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show coming up. Our guest today, he hails from Burlington, Ontario. He was a 6'4", 210-pound tight end at Syracuse University. He was named the MVP of the school. 11 years in the CFL with Hamilton and Ottawa. An 8-time CFL All-Star, 4-time CFL's top Canadian, the CFL's most outstanding player in 1978, the outstanding Canadian in the 78 Grey Cup game, 2-time Grey Cup winner, and in 1985, he was elected to the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, Tony Gabriel. And from Ottawa, he is a host, reporter, and author. He developed a Canadian sports history calendar, host of the Ottawa Sports Quiz, host of Rough Riders Football, color commentator for the Ottawa Lynx, co-host of the Sports Lunatics podcast, and an author. Crazy Days and Wild Nights, More Crazy Days and Wild Nights, and most recently, An Unlikely Story, which we're talking about today, Howard Mooney. Howie, Tony, great to have you guys on the program. Thanks for being here.
Great to be here with you, Joe.
It's great to read your book, Howie.
Oh, Tony, thanks so much. I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
I do too, Howie.
Not just enjoyed it, but it brought back a lot of memories.
This is why I did this. Not why, but I was so happy when I hear stuff like that, where people tell me the memories that the book brings back to them. And it's not just you, Tony, but I've had Ottawa football fans approach me and tell me the same thing. You know, that one guy was telling me, I remember before this game, my dad and I and my brother were sitting in the car and we ran through the rain and got into the stadium before this game and that game. And it's just, I'm blessed to be able to have people tell me that they enjoyed the book and that it brings back those memories.
What prompted you to write the book,
it was the last game of my career as well.
Yeah.
And to be playing in a Grey Cup to finish my 11-year career was, and coming so close, I think that hurts in one element of that. But at the same time, it proved that where we were coming together under J.C. Watts, the way we came together in the latter part of the season, I don't think that it's been duplicated since then.
No. So Howie,
they also say that we're credited because we were just 5-11, that we're responsible for the crossover team because they didn't want to see that happen again.
Right. Norm Kimball was incensed.
Yeah, for sure. All the Western teams were, but
yes.
I just touching on some of the stuff in the book. It was a great book. How I really enjoyed it. Like, so in '81, at the beginning of the season, now you guys look like the East looks like it has some potential, right? So you got Ottawa has a solid team with some great players, and you got Hamilton's always been strong throughout that period of time. And the Alouettes, here's a team that they're building to take out Edmonton, who is a powerhouse, obviously. And they have some great pieces they put together on paper anyway, like bringing in Vince Ferragamo, James Scott, Tom Cousineau, and of course, first round Heisman Trophy winner George Rogers, Billy White Shoes Johnson. That sounds like an intimidating lineup. Howie, why did it not work for them?
That's a really interesting question. And going back, you look at the salary that Montreal was carrying for players. I think it was 3 or 3.5 times what Ottawa had. Ottawa was a budget team under Jake Dunlap, the GM. But Nelson Scalabania had bought the Alouettes at the beginning of 81, and he wanted to turn it into, as you said, a team that could beat Edmonton, but he spent a lot of money on all the American players. And Tony can tell me if I'm right or wrong here, but in all of my time talking to CFL guys, when an American guy comes up to Canada, it generally takes him a year or two to acclimate to the bigger field, the motion pre-snap, for defensive guys, the yard off the ball, the 12th man, everything else. There are a lot of different little things about the Canadian game that are take time for an American player to get used to, especially DBs. When you think about guys out, cornerbacks out on the island, basically on a wide field, it takes some time to get used to the game. And for Vince Ferragamo, I don't think he ever got used to the game in Canada. And by the end of that year, the Alouettes had acquired Ken Johnson from Calgary, a guy who had played in the CFL for a number of years, and a guy who knew the game. And all of a sudden, Montreal became this team that was not to be trifled with. And in fact, going into the Eastern semifinal, the Alouettes were favored over Ottawa because, in the last game of the regular season on that fast track at the Olympic Stadium, they had manhandled Ottawa in the second half of that game. So coming into Ottawa, playing on the natural surface, which was to Ottawa's advantage, especially with the weather being bad the week before, it turned the field into a slog, and that really helped Ottawa. But Ottawa still had to withstand a couple of drives by Montreal in the last 3 minutes, and they stopped one and then they stopped the other one. And George Brancato, after the game, was almost beside himself. He said, "I didn't want to look at the game film because I was afraid of what I'd see." And Howie,
sorry. I think we watered the field ahead of time. You got to try to eliminate some of the, I think, the build up, the press, etc. That, hey, we were definitely not. We were definitely the underdogs, put it that way, and at the same time, I think we were healthy enough. We were the same team there for the last several games. And I think that helped us gel somewhat. And in that game that was the semifinal that you talked about against Montreal on the Ottawa field, Howie, that we had lost to them. It was always a struggle up in Montreal in the Big O. But what was interesting to me is I saw the score. I think it was it 20-16 in the book if I'm not mistaken. And supposedly I scored a touchdown. I don't remember it. So at least I did something. I contributed. It says I had a TD, but sometimes you lose the lose track, right, of what you accomplished, what game it was, etc. We're talking, 45 years ago.
Right. Yeah. Well, Vic, let's roll the highlights while we're talking about some of this. So now you're talking about how, basically the Alouettes wiped the floor with you in the last game of the season, right? And you still though had home field advantage for that East semifinal, and but your 5-11 record, But as you mentioned, you had some pieces that you had together. But look at this field; it's so sloppy. And this is the rematch versus Montreal. You guys fell behind in this game, but would rally. A huge play with Watts here, 2nd and 10, finds Jeff Avery deep downfield. Fabulous play that covered 45 yards, and that led to a field goal. Then Watts gets knocked out of the game in the third quarter, which didn't seem to bode well for you guys. I mean, here's your main man, but it's Kevin Starkey coming into the game, right? Tell us about that transition.
I think that there. I just noticed that Starkey was the one responsible. There was Jordan Case, Kevin Starkey, and J.C. Watts that were intermingled in a sense. Either were 1, 2, or 3, and I'm not sure how the order initially, because JC had left us to go to the work on some oil wells.
Okay.
And then he came back later in the season, eh?
Right.
And when he came back, Tony,
just looking at that play, that doesn't look like the touchdown. But you're right. I think we had to come from behind, and Kevin was responsible.
Right.
There's the touchdown.
That's a nice throw. Yeah. So, it's strange why I can't put 2 and 2 together there, but it looks like we did score.
Yeah. And also, I remember talking to Pat Stokwa, and he told me a story about the Eastern Final, and we can talk about that in a few minutes. But as you were saying, Tony, J.C. Watts left camp in after the first day and went down to Oklahoma. And he was watching the game between you guys and Montreal. I think it was the 3rd or 4th game of the regular season, and it was a great game, back and forth, high scoring. And Watts said, I think I'd like to play again. But when he came back to Ottawa, it took him time to get back into shape, because I think he gained about 8 pounds, and he had to work his way back, first of all, into quarterbacking shape, and secondly, to acclimate himself to the Canadian game. And it took a while. As you said, Jordan Case and Kevin Starkey were the quarterbacks, but then Jordan Case got hurt, and Brancato had no choice but to elevate J.C. Watts to the top 2. And it was in that last third of the season.
Right. That there was some debate as to who should, be the backup, who should start. And I think injury did come into play. And on the adjustments for JC, the fact is that it was towards the latter part and into the Eastern Final. There was one game, if I'm not mistaken, and it was in the book. He threw 51 passes.
Yeah.
And the fact is that he never, did more than, maybe 20 or so in a game at most prior to at Oklahoma.
With the wishbone, right?
He grew up playing that run option at Oklahoma, and he would throw maybe 5 passes in a game in college.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you that he was simply amazing in the Eastern Final against the Ticats. For Joe's knowledge and regards to the book, in the playing there on being close to the hometown here in Burlington, that would you believe? I think JC threw my way 8 times in the first half. And thankfully, I caught each pass. But I wanted to just share with both of you that on the 8th catch in the first half, I got hit directly on the left knee. by Harold Woods. I think his number's 6 in that game. And I mean, it was square on. And in the second half, even though they tried to tape it up, I was just a decoy. I think I caught one pass. But JC, he's, was able to find Pat Stokwa for that 102 pass and run play.
That's right.
Right.
And Kelvin Kirk ran the deep route to clear. Pat said he ran about a 16, 18-yard curl. And but what preceded that, Tommy Clements and the Ticats were driving, and it was 13-7 for them. If they had scored a touchdown, it would have been 20-7. Glenn Cook intercepted a ball in the end zone, ran it out to the 8-yard line. And that's when JC found Pat.
Area,
yeah, JC found Pat. Two guys converged on Pat and collided with each other. That gave Pat a head start. And he wasn't the fastest guy in the world. And Pat said to me, Pat told me, he says, I was running by our bench. And we get slower as we get older, don't we? But he said, as he was running by the Ottawa bench.
Amazed sometimes. But when you see that happen, and I remember what you just spoke of with the two defenders, somehow they bounced off of each other in front.
That's right.
In trying to squeeze it, and Pat squeezed through and all the way.
But he said as he was running by the Ottawa bench, he said the guys were yelling at him, if you don't make it to the end zone, don't come back here. And he said, I finally got to the end zone.
I heard that. Okay.
Yeah.
But, when I've seen Pat in recent years at golf tournaments and stuff, and, to be able to reminisce on that play, he's the reason. I didn't realize it, Howie, that he actually, did he not have 2 touchdowns in that game?
Yep.
And that surprised me when I saw that statistic that he had the first touchdown for us, plus that one, and he was the reason we got into the Grey Cup.
But after the first touchdown, he got his bell rung, and he had to sit out for a bit. And so,
I don't remember that. Well,
it's because when you mentioned about not remembering the touchdown, it made me think of Pat getting concussed. And when we talked, he said, they handle things so much differently today. Today, they'd take your helmet away and you'd now not be able to go back into the game. Back then, they'd hold up 3 fingers and I said 5 and they said, close enough, get back in there.
Yeah, that was a funny line. I saw that. That was good.
Close enough.
When I think of Pat, he's steady Eddie. He's kind of a humble guy as well, and you look at him and he just does the job. He gets out there and works his butt off.
Well, that's what was it. Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say, I would want to get back to J.C. Watts for a bit because, he held out. There was the, dispute with the team, and then he comes back, and is he going to play? Is he not going to play? As a player, were you convinced that J.C. would be the answer, or were you guys thinking, let's wait and see on this guy? What was your attitude towards what was going on with J.C.?
Well, as far as I remember, and we're looking back 45 years. I thought he had other priorities, And so I was not assured as a teammate, like what's going on. I don't know if there were contract problems, whether that was simply his career, whatever was going on. But the fact is, that you had confidence with him on the field. So, to see him come back, and, for me to especially look to be one of his prime receivers, I mean, I had no qualms or problems.
Howie, what are your thoughts on JC as a fan and your research to what was the overall vibe about JC?
Well, what struck me,
was he the savior?
Yes, but he had to work into that persona, because when he left, George Brancato didn't chase after him. He didn't say, he doesn't want to play. He doesn't want to play. And so he kind of left it that way. But when he came back, it was Bob Obilovich that worked with him probably more than anybody else. But, he got him into shape. And Watts, too, said that, I want to play football again. I'll work out twice a day if I have to get back into shape. And he did. And solidifying the quarterback position for Ottawa and solidifying the defensive secondary were so important, because you look at what Edmonton did to Ottawa in the first game. I think it was 47-24 in that first game. Edmonton beat Ottawa in Ottawa.
Season, yeah.
Thanksgiving weekend, Ottawa goes into Edmonton and loses 24-6. And Edmonton got 2 defensive touchdowns. So you take those 2 away, it's 10-6. And so Ottawa had improved a lot between the beginning of the year and that Thanksgiving game. And then what happened after that was Ottawa was a solid team. And even going into the Eastern Final, I believe, or going into the Grey Cup game, George Brancato said to the media, "This is the best team I've coached in 3 years." Meaning at that moment, they were 5-11, yes, but at that moment, they were a good football team. And they showed everybody, the Rough Riders showed everybody what a great team they were going into that Grey Cup game by coming out of the first half leading 20-1.
Yeah. And we owed it to JC in the Grey Cup game. He was marvelous in that first half. To look back to that in the dressing room at halftime, people ask, well, what happened afterwards? But it just seemed like fate was stepping in there. I think there was a time when I think it was JC fumbled the ball somewhere around the 3-yard line.
Yeah.
And that really changed things around.
I want to say
Edmonton made some adjustments.
Yeah. I want to say
Edmonton made some adjustments at halftime. Sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, no problem. I want to set this up because we want to talk about the positives in this game that happened before the things started turning around. You guys, first of all, you go into Hamilton, you're 13-point underdogs, and you pull off that stunning upset. Okay, now you're going to the Grey Cup game, and you're facing a team that I think had won 3 in a row at that point. Or was this going to be the third straight win? One of the two. So
22.5-point underdogs.
22.5-point underdogs. They just trounced BC in the West Final. They had lost this one game all season long, and you guys have the worst record of any team in Grey Cup history. So thus you're 22.5-point underdogs. And, and there's a lot going on here too. And how you can speak of this a little bit. There's, Edmonton, the capital of Alberta versus the nation's capital. There was some political stuff going on too. Tell us about your thoughts on that.
Well, in the summer of 1980, I was 20 years old, and some friends of mine and I went out to Swan Hills, Alberta to work as laborers for a water pipeline to the town of Swan Hills. And I can remember we work every day unless it rained, because the welders couldn't work if it rained. And so we're sitting in the Swan Hills Hotel one day, and this guy comes over to us and he says, where are you guys from? And we didn't want to say Ottawa, because back then Ottawa was kind of a dirty word in Alberta. So we said Ontario. And the guy says, how's it feel coming here and raping our economy? So there was that animus between West and East, even back in the late 70s and early 80s. And so that political kind of atmosphere followed itself to Montreal. And there was that Edmonton versus Ottawa kind of thing. That was how it was, I guess, socially and politically. But in terms of football, what Joe Moss and what Ottawa did was they game planned for Warren Moon, and they wanted to take the deep balls away. They had shored up their defensive secondary with Jerome Stanton and John Sutton and a couple other guys back there. And so they were able to stay with the Waddell Smiths and the quick receivers that Edmonton had. And so they took away that deep threat and forced Warren Moon to try to throw shorter passes. And I can remember Rick Sovieta, God bless him, and may he rest in peace. But Rick Sovieta intercepted a ball off of Warren Moon. And I remember in the 90s talking to Rick and saying, Rick, tell me about that interception. And he says, Howie, I was lucky. He says, Warren threw it so hard, it stuck into my face mask. All I had to do was grab it and hold on to it. But honestly, Rick was being modest, and Rick was just a really modest guy. He was never a guy to toot his own horn or anything like that. And you watch the play, and he knocked the ball out of he drifted into his passing lane, knocked the ball down out of the air, caught it, and then held on to it and gave Ottawa some field position that would allow them to get I think it was a field goal after that. But this helmet actually right here is from Rick. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Oh really? I was wondering.
It was Rick had a bar that's not very far from where I live right now. And Tony, you lived off of Paul Anka Drive, which is not very far from where I live right now as well. But Rick had a restaurant, a great
Rick's Cantina or whatever.
Yes, right? That's right. Yeah, great food. I used to host his Grey Cup parties and his Super Bowl parties. And in 2000, the place I was working for asked me to move to Seattle. And so my now ex-wife, who's my girlfriend at the time, went to Rick and said, do you know anybody who might be selling a helmet? Because Howie would like to get a Rough Rider helmet. The Rough Riders were my first sports love. And so Rick said to her, for Howie? And she said, yeah. And so he grabbed the helmet off the wall, put it on the bar and gave it to her right there. And I didn't know that. It was all unbeknownst to me. But, it was just, Rick was such a great guy, such a nice guy. And I've got pictures of him.
With pancreatic cancer.
That's right. Yeah.
I lost my eldest brother, Joe, to pancreatic cancer as well.
It's so sad, so terrible.
Yeah.
Rick made the play on that interception, and then Ottawa got points off it. Ottawa turned Edmonton mistakes and defensive plays, good defensive plays, into points in that first half. And that's what enabled them to stay with Edmonton or stay ahead of Edmonton in that first half as well. And as you said, Tony, I'm curious as to what the atmosphere was like in the locker room at halftime.
Well, I think we're exuberant that we were ahead, so almost 3 touchdowns. But I think that may have been a little too buoyant in talking it up. Like for the second half, what are you going to do, right? And I believe that worked against us, that we thought we had this big cushion.
And Wilkie had come in the first half, and he didn't have the big arm that Warren Moon had, so he was dinking and dunking and going with the short stuff that Ottawa was giving them. And at halftime, Hugh Campbell and Tom Wilkinson got into Warren Moon's grill and said, you have to go with the short stuff. Take what Ottawa's defense will give you. Don't go for the long stuff. And that's what they did. And of course, they made adjustments that way. And also, as you said, Tony, the fumble that J.C. Watts, and it wasn't necessarily his fault, but that fumble allowed Edmonton a touchdown, and they capitalized on a couple of Ottawa.
Location. That's what I was trying to say, Howie, that it was on about the 3 from reminiscing or reading the book. And clearly, what changed, I thought, and looking at the statistics, And who won the most outstanding Canadian in that game, I didn't realize, was Neil Lumsden.
Right.
And what I read is was that he caught 9 passes as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he would have been running from the fullback position as such too. But
Yeah.
the combination of all the yards that he gave them, like you're talking about the shorter ones, I mean, I don't believe I remember a fullback catching 9 passes like that.
Lumsden was a talented player. He was a really good player. He played with Ottawa U and, won the national championship in, I think, 75. And there were a bunch of guys on that Gigi's team at Ottawa U that went on to play in the CFL. And he was a
Many
talented
of them
player.
became pro. Yeah, I agree. They were a great team.
We have some. Just a couple of highlights I want to show from the first half. When you mentioned they caused some turnovers. Team was playing really strong. The game started. You guys up 3-0, and then J.C. Watts gives to Jim Reed, who's going to plow in for a touchdown. Let's have a look at that, Vic. And that now you guys are up 10 donut, and things are looking pretty good. And the defense causing more turnovers, leading to more points. Warren Moon was, as you mentioned, was shaky in this game. You guys were totally on a roll. A nice run here by Sam Platt. And this gave you guys a 20-0 lead. And Tony, I know you guys won this game as 20, beautiful run, 22.5-point underdogs. And you suffering the ailments of lingering ailments of a nasty knee injury. How bad was that knee?
Thanks for asking, because I'd like to tell you and then mention about the double interference call, okay?
Sure.
Or is that coming up?
That's coming up. That's coming up. That's coming.
I wanted to say that where Harold Woods hit me, I had partially torn ligaments and cartilage diagnosed. And they fashioned a knee brace, as you may know, for me to play, and taped up the knee, etc. And it wasn't too bad, initially in the game itself, but towards the latter part, as you could imagine, by the fourth quarter, and we were down into the last few minutes of the game. It was a cold day too. And my knee was giving out on me. It was actually numb in a sense that I can recall, that I was kind of dragging it when going out onto some pass routes, guys? And the point of which is that play where J.C. Watts in the last 2-3 minutes goes and scrambles to the left. I try to come back to him. And it's because I'm hobbling, and they're saying I'm jostling with Gary Hayes. Well,
right.
He was draped all over me on the left-hand side. I had to cradle the ball in with my right arm, and thankfully caught it around just over midfield. Hey, guys?
Here we go.
Is this the play? No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, maybe it is.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to come back, you see, and he's all over me. So the flag comes out. See, I don't even know this, but the flag comes out afterwards. And look at me hobbling. I mean, give me, I've never heard that call ever again.
It never happened before that, and it never happened after.
Never happened after, never happened before.
Exactly.
Now, I'm trying to go down. Then I try to.
He's hitting you.
I'm trying to make up my mind to come back to JC. The guy's all over me.
Oh my God!
That was a penalty all the way.
Absolutely.
100%.
Now,
Tony, I don't know if
you guys is the key, and I don't want to be sour grapes, but the fact is, if there was anything beforehand that I was responsible for, fine. Throw the flag. But the flag comes out afterwards. And then in this double interference, I have to go back and I'm looking. What are you talking about?
The official that threw the flag.
Thank you for showing this play because this gives me credibility.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to go by him. He bounced me once.
That's penalty.
I'm trying to come back.
That's penalty.
And now
that's penalty. Now he's holding.
He's all over me on the left arm.
Yeah, he's got your arm hooked up.
I'm telling you guys, that is pass interference.
The official that threw that flag never worked a game on the field in the CFL again. He got kicked upstairs and became one of the director of officials, but he never worked another game on the field.
This is what I understand, Howie, that really upsets me. Now, I don't want... I heard he was a Western referee.
Yeah, he was.
Okay, so give me a break. I mean, where the hell he pulled that flag out after the play? He waited to see if I caught it. That's what it looks like to me. He's waiting, and he's draped on my left side, and I have to bring the ball into my body with the right side.
And I believe it was Leo Cahill that was doing the color commentary that said, on the first point of contact by Hayes on you, Tony, he said, that's interference. That should be called right away, right there. That's the penalty. And you can't call two. There's one penalty and it's interference, and it should have been even earlier than what we were seeing there.
Yeah.
And the problem that ensued afterwards was, I think JC called another play that he got sacked on, according to your report in the book. And that was the last play of my game, of my career.
Of your career.
That one, that double interference call. That is what really bothers me even today, that had I been able to contribute or do something, but my leg, I couldn't go back out. My leg, you can see me hobbling. I wasn't making it up.
No. And the thing too is that with your knee the way it was, Bob Obilovich was the assistant coach, one of the assistant coaches in Ottawa. He became the head coach in Toronto the next year.
Right.
I've got a friend, Warner Miles, who played at Ottawa U, played for the Argos in 81 and 82. And there's a couple of Warner stories in the book, but one of the things that Warner told me, and I think it's in the epilogue of the book, is the year after, 82, in that preseason, when the Argos were together in camp, Obi showed the game film of the Grey Cup game in 81 to the whole team. And there were a bunch of American guys in that room. And when they saw you, Tony, playing with the pain that you were playing with, Warner told me that, he says, a lot of those guys developed a lot of quick respect for Canadians in watching that game.
I think I read that in your book.
Yeah, that's because Warner told me that. Yeah.
It's interesting.
And just to wrap this
thank you for mentioning it.
I want to talk about this. Okay, so here's what happened. We saw what happened in this game. At the time, you guys are tied at 20. Okay, or 23. Is it 23?
Right.
23.
23.
So the Eskimos have come back to tie the game. This play starts a drive that will probably end up with you guys either kicking a winning field goal, maybe getting a touchdown. You got momentum going, and Tony Gabriel makes that spectacular catch while he's being manhandled, because that's what really happened, and that's the end to a storybook career, and that's what should have been, the whole thing, and instead we got what we got, which is you guys. JC getting sacked on the next play, which should have never happened because you should have been moving the ball. And he said it's a desperate situation. Completely changes the complexion of the game.
Yeah,
and it ruins what would have been really one of the great moments in Canadian sports history.
And Joe, just if I may add,
the toilet because of a brutal call.
Yeah, and Joe, if I may just add, we had one of the best kickers, Jerry Organ.
Yeah.
That if we would have just got one more first down, we were over midfield with that possible catch.
Yeah, that's it.
If we would have just got it closer for him, maybe a first down, he would have definitely been able to kick the winning field goal.
Right.
But history is that you can't change what's happened. I'm a realist on that side.
Yeah.
And they called it. That's the way they saw it. I don't get it. I don't think it's if I look at this and review it, JC's in trouble going left.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to come back to him. Come on, guys. Where's the referee?
Yeah.
I'm wondering, where's that ref?
Even though it was 45 years ago, you say double interference to certain people of a certain age in this city, in Ottawa.
Yeah.
And they still grimace and they still, there's frustration and anger.
Pain. Oh my God, this is a phenomenal play by Tony Gabriel. Yeah. Tremendous Canadian athlete.
I cannot believe he's all over my left arm. And somehow I cradled that ball.
And nothing's changed 45 years later. It's still the same. Full disclosure,
disgusting.
Full disclosure, I grew up in Edmonton and sat in the knothole gang for 10 years of my life, paying 75 cents a game and watching the Eskimos play, and they were my team. And I was probably rooting pretty heavily for Edmonton at the time. But in retrospect here, this is a travesty of justice, really. Really was. You guys deserve
it was certainly the circumstance. Like, if I had been healthy, there wouldn't have been any, of that jostling or something. I was going on one leg almost. Yeah. It's okay. You can't take it back.
Having said that, it does remind me, this game, a little bit. It felt like a win, even though it was a loss, if you know what I mean. And I feel kind of the same way about, for example, this year's Blue Jays, right? Even though they lost to the Dodgers in the World Series, it really felt like a win to me. And this game, looking back, this felt like a win. Despite that, the fact that on paper it's a loss. Do you see some kind of similarities, Tony, between those two analogies?
Most definitely, that you bring to mind. Hey, I think Blue Jays were 2 outs away from the championship, right? And as I said, one more first down, and we give Jerry Organ the chance. He would have come through. But be that as you said, Joe, hey, we got to be thankful we were that close.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I said to Pat Stokwa as well. I said, Pat, I know there are no moral victories in football. You win on the scoreboard or you lose on the scoreboard, but do you not take any solace from the fact that you took this Edmonton team, this juggernaut Edmonton Eskimos team, to the last second in the Grey Cup game?
Yeah, last 5 seconds or whatever it was for Dave Cutler's kick. And what I feel badly about, guys, is not just for the city and the team, but our defense played unreal that day. I mean, you talk about Rick Sovietta's interception. There were a lot of great plays by our defense.
Yeah, there absolutely were. And I mean, that your defense and the way that you guys took away the deep stuff from Warren Moon in that first half, that was instrumental in coming out to the 20-1 lead at halftime. And the only point that Edmonton got was on a missed field goal by Cutler late in the second quarter.
Exactly.
So it was 20-0.
That's a good point. It was a missed field goal. You're right.
Yeah.
I hear they're going to get rid of missed field goals. No rouges.
We can go down a whole rabbit hole with that stuff, Tony.
I know.
Well, let's go down it. Let's go down it, guys. I want to ask you what you thought about the current state of the game and the idea for the rule changes and where you're at with that.
I wonder if you might just give me the floor for a quick second on,
for sure,
Joe, in regards to the 76 Grey Cup. If you can imagine the huddle being in there and Tommy Clements calling Rabbi fake 34 tight end flag, if we have the shorter end zone, that play doesn't happen. If you go to 15 yards or whatever they're trying to think of currently, that play, as you can see, went into the end zone, and I double spiked the ball just as I go out. And I believe the normal distance is 20 yards. So I'm against the idea of shortening the end zones.
Right. Okay.
I'm against losing the 55-yard line.
That catch.
Right.
I agree with you, Tony, and I'm against losing the 55-yard line. To me, it's one of the unique Canadian things about our game is that 55-yard line. If I see a football field on TV or on a movie or something like that, one of the first things I'm doing is looking at the middle of the field to see if there's a 50, a C, and a 50. Because I'm looking for that to see if it's a Canadian field or an American field. Me.
And Howie, if you think about it, what's next? Are they going to bring the sidelines in, and then you're going to go to 4 downs? Come on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One of the first things I thought when I heard this change, making this field smaller, making the end zone smaller, is that they want to expand to the U.S. again and fit the field into an American facility, because that's what they're going to do. That's what this shorter field will allow them to do. And I think it's a travesty, and they want to move the goalposts back to the back of the end zone. And leave the game. Everybody enjoys the game. I thought, no one has talked to the players or taken a poll from the fans. What do they want? Well, they didn't even talk to the players.
No, Rourke was pretty outspoken about that.
The Board of Governors were just deciding these things on their own.
And does this also mean that Canadian university football, high school football, minor football, they're all going to have to shorten their fields?
Well, see, now there's the question. I mean, the cost involved. No, I don't think the universities should or could do it. But as far as the single point and the rouge, I'm okay with that. I mean, you shouldn't be rewarded, I guess, for a single point going out of bounds. But at the same time, leave a lot of the great nuances of the CFL intact.
It's a great game. We love it. So many people across the country love this game and always have. It's more exciting game every game by game. If you look at CFL versus NFL, the game's never decided until almost the last minute, and it's incredibly exciting. The motion, the size of the field, all these things, the 3 downs, everything makes it more pass oriented. It's more fun to watch. And, hey, we all like the offense.
And Joe,
we get lots more of it.
And Joe, that's a good point about the passing. And that is that the U.S., because I played a Syracuse ball, and I have played on that field for 4 years. I know the differences when coming into the CFL and what that allowed me to do and others with the 12 men on the field versus the 11 in the smaller field, etc. And the U.S. used to try to copy a lot of what we were doing, motion and passing, etc. I mean, that's what our game's all about. You got to, in 2 plays, be able to get the 10 yards. How are you going to do it? You can't. Down in Syracuse, we used to have Larry Zonka. And if you have Larry Zonka and it's 3 yards in a cloud of dust, we used to say, every few yards, then you can run the ball. But at the same time, our game has a lot going for it. I hope they preserve as much as they can.
Here.
Hey, even if they change it, we can always go back.
Sure. Well, you hope.
We can always go back, go the other way. If it's not working, I hope.
Yeah. Well, I try.
Anyways, this has been great. Nice to be able to talk with you guys about the old days.
Yes, for sure. I want to listen. Once again, guys, the book is called An Unlikely Story How the 1981 Ottawa Rough Riders Just Missed a Miracle. Howie, good luck with the book. Really enjoyed it. And thank you guys for taking this time to join us.
Thanks for having us, Joe.
It was great. Nice. Thanks for spending the time. And as I said, that's 81, 45 years, I was saying, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm getting old.
Well, thank you for sharing these great memories with us, guys. This has been a lot of fun. When we come back, Willard Reeves talks about what it meant to win a championship for Winnipeg. Back in a flash. In 1992, the best locally owned restoration companies came together with one goal: to make disaster recovery better for Canadians. And to this day, DKI remains one of the only 100% Canadian-owned disaster restoration groups in the market. Fire, flood, or storm damage. When things go wrong, the right help makes all the difference. With the right tools and local expertise, we handle everything from emergency response to full-scale restoration, getting homes and businesses back on track the right way. Because a home is more than 4 walls. A business is more than a building. And recovery is about more than repairs. When you choose DKI, you're choosing a company that's put Canada first since 1992. Locally owned, nationally backed, Canadian through and through. Addiction Rehab Toronto, Toronto's #1 alcohol and drug treatment center. Saving lives, reuniting families. The only treatment center in the province to offer medical detox, treatment, sober living, and lifetime aftercare all in one place. Our unique and specialized programs are designed to equip our clients with the tools to successfully lead a life of dignity, respect, and purpose. Let us help save your life or your loved one's life. Call today for more information or to facilitate an intervention. 1-855-787-2424 or visit addictionrehabtoronto.ca. Hearing loss doesn't have to mean missing out. At Hear Canada, we help you take charge with a complimentary hearing assessment because confidence starts with clarity. Discover hearing aids, accessories, and expert care at your local hearing center. Not sure where to start? Our Hearing Health Guide has the basics for you or a loved one. It worked for us. Book your free assessment today at hearcanada.com. Conditions may apply. Another former running back great, Willard Reeves, came to the CFL from the United States, and when his Blue Bombers won the Grey Cup, he was surprised by how big of a deal it was. 47-17, the final score, the beatdown of the Ticats. It was Winnipeg's first Grey Cup title in 22 years, and I believe it was Cal Murphy's first Grey Cup title. It was certainly as running the show there. What a moment! Tell us about this moment.
This was fantastic. I mean, you're seeing, we're jumping around on the sideline there. We've seen the presentation of the cup, and for me, it didn't hit me as much as it did the Canadian players because, the tradition. I we won a championship. I've been part of championship teams and stuff like that. It didn't hit me as hard as it did at the time, because the importance of it did not weigh until we got back to Winnipeg, until we got into that parade and we're in City Hall and stuff like that. And I said, wow, this is a big deal here. This is really truly a big deal. After 22 years, man, these people were hungry, and I mean that city went crazy. Winnipeg just went absolutely nuts that day. It was really something to be a part of, and that's when it finally hit me. I said, oh, wow, okay, these people are really, they're really happy that we did what we did.
Discover the secret to timeless vitality at Renew Medical Center in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Our specialists unravel the science of aging, tailoring plans to defy its effects. Experience cutting-edge regenerative therapies such as stem cells and exosomes, addressing aging at its core.
It's a wonderful spot, and I highly recommend it for whatever you may need, whether you just want to feel better, you want to look better, have basically a quality of life, just to ramp it up a little bit as we age.
Liberate yourself from aging-related concerns, where accountability, technology, and passion for regenerative medicine converge. Begin your path to peak health and wellness with us. Schedule your appointment today at renewpv.com and elevate your quality of life.
Parents, what's the biggest fear for kids 10 to 14? A future they think they can't handle. At Believe, Become, Be You, we know confidence in the future is a habit we can build. Our course doesn't just prepare kids for the future, it seeds them with skills they will use now. For a limited time, the I Believe in Me Foundation is offering the first 1,000 kids and their parents 1 year free access. This priceless opportunity will save you over $2,000. This isn't just a course. It's a journey in developing life-enhancing skills that will grow with your child, fostering gritty minds, creative futures, and better bonds. Get signed up now at BelieveBecomeBeYou.com. That's BelieveBecomeBeYou.com.
And we want to thank all the folks who make this show possible. These are friends, trusted business associates, and all-around great people. We highly recommend them all. Thank you for your support of Canadian sports. A reminder, the show is available on iTunes, Spotify, Breaker, wherever you get your podcast from. Also, check out the show on YouTube. All of our past shows are on there. Shorts, like and subscribe. It's absolutely free. Also on social, we are at Joseph Tilley on Instagram and Threads, Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show on Facebook. Thanks once again to Tony Gabriel and Howard Mooney for joining us. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. MNP, a leading Canadian national accounting, tax, and business accounting firm. MNP proudly serves and responds to the need of their clients in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors. Through partner-led engagements, MNP provides a collaborative, cost-effective approach to do business and personal strategies to help people and organizations to succeed across the country and around the world. With local offices in Oshawa, Mississauga, Burlington, and more, their team is here to support you. Visit mnp.ca today to learn more. Brian Gribben Insurance Planning, helping you solidify your financial future.
At BGIP, what we do that's unique in the marketplace is we show people how to spend and enjoy their money in their early years of retirement without the fear of running out. Also, we're able to do this without you having to change financial advisors. Please look us up at bgip.ca today. And let's book a 30-minute phone call to see how we can bring value to you and your family in your planning.
Call Brian today for all your retirement needs. We did. 905-686-5678. Joe Tilley here. My wife Penny Claire and I recently took an amazing trip to Egypt and Jordan with Trip Op Hope. And here are our top 10 must-dos. Last but not least, we relaxed at a luxury resort and took a dip in the famous Dead Sea. This beautiful resort was a perfect way to cap off our incredible adventure in Egypt and Jordan. After days of exploring ancient ruins and bustling markets, it was wonderful to just kick back, put on a little mud, and soak up the sun by the Dead Sea. Oh, I almost forgot to mention the amazing cuisine in Egypt and Jordan. Don't forget to try the delicious local food like mouth-watering Egyptian barbecue. And the best part is that our Trip Oppo tour includes almost all of the meals, so you can indulge in the local cuisine without worrying about opening your wallet. I would highly recommend that you book your next trip through Trip Oppo. Call them today. Rooted in 60 years of tradition, Sleepy Hollow is a private golf club with a friendly community of members just minutes from Toronto. With mature trees and rolling fairways, Sleepy Hollow provides a challenging and enjoyable experience for passionate golfers. Enjoy great golf, amazing dining, and a picturesque patio second to none. Visit sleepyhollowcountryclub.com.